I have a gun, you have a gun, we have our guns. Yeah, you don't have to take a dog or go on the floor for this gun that I'm talking about. Guns are inherently meant for safety and security. Different types of guns exist in our world today. There are different questions agitating our minds when the issue of guns are raised. How do I procure my guns? What type of gun is more potent? Who controls access to guns? Age 32 in 1992, I had my gun. When did you get your gun, if I may ask? Most democracies allow 12 to 12 years old as the age to legally possess this gun. At age 18, our society deems us adults. Our world is opened and we are able to do basically all things, including owning our own individual guns. But wait, guns are deadly, you might say. In some places, age 21 is the coming of age. Whether 18 or 21, everyone must own this gun for safety and security. The excitement to possess a driver license or state ID is a prelude to owning my gun, to count me as a civil and responsible citizen of the world, especially my nation, America. The civic lesson Mama and Papa instilled in me, the adrenaline running through me as I apply online or return my registration by mail knows no bounds. A sense of responsibility done on me, a sole possessor of a gun. So what's next? Papa and Mama, civil-minded parent, took me to the city hall for a crash course, watching members deliberate on issue after issue. Papa reminded me it was my gun, our guns, that brought these members to City Hall, Congress, and essentially any corridor of power. I was aghast that indeed my gun is a powerful weapon that determines the decision, the laws, the status, the policy that governs any entity. Was I becoming energized and empowered or what? Wondering why more people are not engaged to use their own guns. The human sacrifice that preceded my ability to own my gun cannot be underestimated. The first settler in the New World after escaping the tyrannical rule in England. People during the civil rights years marched. People during the Arab Spring protested. People like American Jr. were jailed. Chinese youth in a Tiananmen Square died for the right to own this gun. Yet today, a lot of people, especially 18 to 35 years old, and women all over the world take their guns for granted by failing to vote. Do you know women are more than 50% of Homo sapiens? Women, when they vote, can actually determine most outcome of elections everywhere. So why aren't women voting? With my gun, I can determine who my president, my senator, my congressman, my congresswoman, governors, mayor, police chief, the sheriff, etc. will be. With my gun, I can render the NRA a two-leg bulldog. With my gun, I can reform corporate boardrooms. So why am I and everyone else lethargic in pulling the trigger of this gun? With my gun, I can sanitize Hollywood, #Me Too. With my gun, I can end cases of sexual abuse, rape, or harassment whenever they occur. With my gun, I can end child molestation, child abuse, and exploitation in the churches and other places of worship. So why have I refused to exercise the power of my gun? With my gun, I can reform churches, other places of worship, and schools. With my gun, I can reform police departments and indeed other facets of life. So when will I religiously utilize the power of my gun? Millennials ages 18 to 35 years old in the United States were 23.2% of the population in 2005. Please use your guns. Baby boomers ages 51 to 69 years old in the US were 23.01% of the population in 2005. Please go ahead and use your gun as well. Senior citizens 70 and above have had the use of their guns unquestioned. Please continue unabated. The constant massacre of innocent citizens, children, women, straight girls, transgender, natives, immigrants have made it imperative to utilize our gun responsibly. Recent carnage in Parkland, Florida, and other such senseless killing has empowered all 17 years old throughout the nation to call our politicians out, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents alike, that in a year when we all turn 18, we will remember those who stood on the sideline. Hear ye, I have a gun. You have a gun, we all have guns. Recent events in the United States after George Floyd, murder, and other black fatalities has brought people all over the world, young, old, black, brown, and white, determined more than ever to use their guns this November to send a clear message to our leaders. In different parts of the world, similar determination to use these guns are on the rise. In Nigeria recently, the lazy youths, so-called, are determined to use their guns by asking for #answers. Finally, people all over the world who are faced with consequential events are more determined to pull their triggers. I shall use my gun every November when I am called upon. I hope you will all join me to use your guns as well. A shout out to every 17 years old all over the world. The purpose in their hearts to pull the triggers of their gun when they turn 18 and see the potency and change that they can bear in society. Thank you.